So you may have seen my videos on the seats, the brakes, and of course the FiTech. I figured it was about time to do a walk around video of my 71 Chevelle. So, a bit of a background. I have always been into Chevelles since like maybe 10 or 11. Specifically the 71. I've always loved the front ends of them. And I had been searching for one since I was like 13 and then kind of gave up right around when I was like 19. And you know, I found a few possible ones, but it just never played out. Then I don't know what it was, like 8 years ago, I just randomly decided to go on the internet and be like, hey, if there's any 71 Chevelle SS454s for sale. And sure enough, this one showed up locally. So obviously I took a look at it, went for a test drive, and now she sits in my garage. So I guess that means, you know, this was my dream car. At least I'd call it my realistic dream car. So sure, you might want a Lamborghini or Bugatti Veyron, and I'd say go for it if you can. It might be unrealistic, but why not? But I mean, this one was a little more attainable, and I got it. So this car is an actual SS454. I do have the documents, I have a build sheet. I actually talked to the original owner. When I got the car, it was black, just as you see it. The original color was gold with a terrible green interior, so I'm glad the previous owner fixed that. As for the wheels, I have always been into Keystone Classics. I mean, back when I was a kid, I was like, that's the wheel for me. So as soon as I got the car, that was the only choice I was going with. The front tires are a 235/60 on a 15x7. Back tires are a 295/50 on a 15x10 with a custom 5.5-inch back spacing. I'd say the car is kind of one of these 10-foot paint job kind of cars. I mean, as much as I think it's in good shape, I mean it is all steel. There's no rust or Bondo on it. That's not necessarily true. There's one tiny spot forming around the windowsill, so that kind of sucks, but is what it is. But otherwise, considering the car is, from 1971, I think it's doing pretty good. Speaking of the front end and the headlights of the 71, these are not the stock headlights. These are aftermarket lights from Neolight. They carry the H4 bulb, so I can actually upgrade to even a brighter one. What a difference it made over stock. And then I also upgraded my electrical system, which I'll show you in a bit, and that made another big difference. So yeah, that helped. Let's take a look at the engine. So here's the engine. It is the original LS5 454. It's been bored over 30 over. I was told 10-to-1 compression. I don't think so. I'm thinking more like 9 to 9.5. It has your typical 90s mods, a YN dual plane intake, comp 280H hydraulic flat tappet camshaft, headers, some roller rockers. Nothing that's really that impressive, which is why it doesn't dyno that great. I mean, it dynoed at 359 rear wheel horsepower, so that's realistically making about 425 to 440 horsepower at the crank. That's my brake setup. So I got my proportioning valve for the rears. I found that since I put my suspension on the car, my rear suspension on, I'm locking the rears a lot more than I used to. There is my line lock. That's always fun. And of course the FiTech sitting down there somewhere. And just your usual mods. The ignition, funny enough, is actually put in the trunk. I don't know why they put it there, but that's where it is. So that's the engine. Oh yeah, the alternator. I upgraded to a 150 amp alternator. If you even consider going to an electric fan, which I might be doing in the future, get a 150 amp alternator. Definitely worth it, potentially required actually. I bought it because my system was not charging enough with the FiTech system even, so I was running around like 13 some odd volts, and I mean we wanted it over 14, and now it's good as it can be. Also, if you do that, I'll see if I can zoom in here. If you're going to upgrade, I highly recommend upgrading your cables. So I'm running a 6-gauge cable, and I redid all the wiring that goes across here and down in that loom there's like a big junction, and I redid all of it, and then I went 8 gauge all the way back. So anyways, definitely some upgrading. That if upgrade your wiring if you're gonna go to a 150 amp alternator. Heck, I can say upgrade it anyways. Aluminum radiator. It actually cools really good. It never really gets that hot, never has. In traffic, you know, it might see like 190, 200, but I guess that's to be expected. Let's check out the interior. So we got the interior. Of course, we have the SS dash, Momo steering wheel. It does have an aftermarket stereo. I've never used it, so I do plan on taking it away. And we got our TrackMate data logger and our FiTech fuel injection dashboard. M22W Autogear 4-speed transmission. Originally it was a automatic, you know, some camera crap. And the bucket seats that you've probably seen in the other video. But otherwise it's pretty stock looking, which is what I like. So that's the interior. So I'm running a 3-inch exhaust from Flowmaster, and a lot of people think that going to 3-inch on an engine like mine is too big. It's not really necessary, but I wouldn't say it's too big. The whole, you know, you need back pressure to build torque, it's complete myth. That's BS. Where I found the biggest improvement going to this exhaust was in the low to mid range. The top end didn't feel a whole lot of improvement, but definitely in the mid range there was. So big exhaust, as long as it's not overly sized, like 3.5, 4-inch on an engine like mine, you should be fine. Still running the stock drum brakes. It's got the original 12 bolt in it. I said before, 331 gears. My brakes, which I'm proud of. Brake ducts. If you haven't seen it in the other video, check it out. I've upgraded the suspension a little bit. I will do a video on that. It's not that really crazy on it, but hopefully we're going to find out soon on how well the suspension does on the road course. But yeah, that's my car, and let's get the hell out of here.